Business Takeout presents The Healthy Entrepreneur with Maxine Choy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Entrepreneur Show. My name is Maxine Choy, and I'm your host. I'm a health and wellness coach, helping you to gain optimal health by exercising. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my train of thought. Mindfulness, accountability, and consistency. My guest is Orica Smart. Orica owns the O Spot in Ajax, and she is esthetician. Hopefully, everybody can hear her. She has a lovely voice, guys. So, behind the scenes, we're just like having a lot of fun. And it's going to be a fun show. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome and just basically talking about our experience with it and hoping that the audience will participate in sharing how they've had to deal with imposter syndrome and even just asking us any questions at all about this. So before we begin, this show is brought to you by Business Takeout. Business Takeout is a nonprofit social enterprise that helps Black entrepreneurs succeed through education and business. Please follow them on all social media platforms. This is on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, because there's tons of things coming your way where podcasts are being produced, where as I said, they help entrepreneurs in succeeding in their business. So we're gonna get going and just start talking right away about imposter syndrome. And I wanted to talk about this because I remember one time I doubted myself. Like not one time, actually, a lot of times.
A lot of times. Every day we doubt ourselves. Every day.
Yeah. And it's the weirdest thing because when I heard the term imposter syndrome and I was like, what is that? Like, it sounds like I felt like it was a masked man or woman walking around posing as somebody else. So I didn't really think it was more like being afraid of being found out or not only that, even doubting your own success. So of course I had to look it up to see what it means. And I wrote it. I have the information here. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to read it to you because believe it or not, there are some people who did not even know what imposter syndrome was.
I thought it was imposter syndrome was, as you said, being somebody else. I didn't think it was me having negative feelings of myself and doubting myself. I didn't think it was that. It was like, oh, I'm not trying to be like her, or I'm not trying to be like that somebody. So I completely misunderstood the meaning. I think most of us do.
Yeah, and like I said, when I heard it, I just, because we know what the word imposter is, I felt like it was just totally different and didn't apply to me. Right. So I wanted to bring you on here because I've seen some of your Instagram lives where you've spoken about like self-care and owning yourself and just like being very confident and knowing what you want out of life and things like that. Right. So we're gonna dive in, but I'm going to just explain what imposter syndrome really means. So imposter syndrome is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of his own skills or efforts. And I really thought about that. And it's so true because even when I earned my certification as a health and nutrition coach, I felt that maybe I wasn't going to be good enough for anybody. And I also felt that somebody else who is in the same profession as me, especially if they've been in that profession for like a longer time than me, they were looking at me and saying, she doesn't know what she's doing.
She doesn't know what she's talking about.
She can't help anybody. And then of course you start thinking that they're thinking that, and then you start to think that you, like the people who are going to be thinking that of you, and you feel like a fraud. So it all tied together.
And for me, I've had like a couple careers, and this one, I felt the imposter syndrome more than anything else because of my age. Within the aesthetics world, you get in really early, like right after high school.
Oh.
I've lived a couple lives before
Oh,
I jumped
you
in.
have
It's
it?
something, yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to own my own spa, but I didn't go back to school until I was 36. Or was it 37? After children, I've stayed home with children for like 8 years. And I'm like, what's next? So I went back to school and I said, I'm going to do this because this is what I really want to do. But then you go to school with these little girls.
Yes,
Mind you, they thought I was their age.
Of course, I was about to ask you actually.
They thought I was their age. But when I came out and I worked in the field for a year and a half, and then I said, I'm going to do this. But then I find on my page, I wasn't putting myself out there. I would post the basics with the most limited information.
I know exactly.
Because I didn't want to get too deep, and then somebody's going to say, well, that's not true.
Exactly.
And then
I know what you mean.
And then the public all the eyes will be on me because hey, now everybody knows that this girl is talking shit. She does not know what she's talking about.
That's so
Why
true.
would I go to her if she doesn't know what she's talking about? And I spent 2 years in school.
Yeah.
And the education doesn't stop there. I'm always reading peer reviews. I'm reading books. But at the same time, I will write my long post every night and I'll store it. And then morning comes for me to post at 9 a.m. I look at it and then I'm like, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow.
You know, when you were talking, I remember, okay, so I think it was more like, I related to you when you said that when you first became an esthetician, you didn't want to you're very minimal with your posts. And I get it because you didn't want to become the expert. And people might be looking at you and go, look at her. Like, since when did you become an expert? I've been doing this forever, girl.
And I felt like I wasn't ready. I'm like, maybe give me a couple years. And even I said my end goal is teaching. And my friend's like, but you can do it now. You know your stuff. And I actually did go for an interview and they loved me. But as you said, I'm very mild mannered. My voice, I don't project. And she says, you are amazing. You know your stuff, but they will eat you. They will eat you alive. I'm like, and even with that, I still felt like I'm not yet seasoned. I don't know what I'm talking about. Then everybody else posts, and then I'm like, yeah, that's true, blah blah. And I'm like in the comments, like bigging up.
So you're just hiding behind,
and I'm hiding. And
you know,
I don't think it has anything to do with the outside world. It's
what you're inside. It's hiding behind your success,
right?
And your doubts and your fears take over, and you start believing that you're not educated or deserving of this accolade because it's an inferior complex. And I don't. I mean, they call it the imposter syndrome. And then we start to believe that we actually have an illness or like some kind of issue, but really, truly, it's not. And I did some research, and of course, I always have my clipboard because there's no shame in the game.
I want to make sure.
No, I miss clipboard. So I just wrote down a few pointers, and one of them says, what part of being an imposter person is we feel we haven't earned our accomplishment, and I was like. Yeah, because you bust your butt in school or even work, like even amongst your peers at work, and you get this promotion and you feel that you don't deserve it, and your peers are looking at you. You feel your peers are looking at you, going, "Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you're right. You don't deserve to be in that big office with whatever." And then you start to like dumb down your skills to match them, so that they don't feel that you are an imposter, right? So. Yeah,
a funny story. I have a classmate. We're like the same age, and when we graduated, and we saw our grades, we literally didn't like how
did we get there?
Like,
I know,
how did we get all A's? We didn't do anything. Up to 2 years ago, we were laughing like, I don't even understand how we graduated with the grades that we did. We felt like we didn't do anything. And that's horrible that, you know, we
I can relate to
put
that.
so much into something, and then at the end of the day, we feel like we didn't deserve it.
Yeah. You know, I think that like there's practical and there's theory, right? So I mean, obviously in education, you're forced to learn. And even if you don't like it, you still have to learn, and then you're tested. And you may not have done so well. Maybe you just skimmed it. You barely passed. So that's the progress. That's what's been happening throughout the whole course, right? And whether this is a school or whether it's your job that you're doing, right? So as you move up to different ladders and accomplish, there was probably a struggle with that. And then so in the end, when you got it, you're like, I don't deserve this. I didn't work hard enough. I didn't put in what I was supposed to. I'm sure that, you know, Ted and Susie and Cindy, they bust their butt and did all these graphs and charts, and they did it all. You know, so you just feel that, you know, and then here you are walking around with this certificate saying, yeah, I'm this, I'm this. And then next thing you know, you feel like, oh my goodness, I don't deserve this. I get it. I get it. You know, okay, so another thing I wrote down was that it's not that we don't know what our accomplishments are, or not that we don't know we're capable. It's that we doubt our accomplishments in private. Can you relate to that? It's what we're talking about, right? So you sit down and you're like, I can't do this. You know, I'm no good. I'm never going to be able to help somebody. They're gonna find me out.
I question myself all the time.
You do?
I do.
But I look at you and I'm like, I went to your spa and you gave me the best facial, and I'm like, my daughter's coming here, my mom's coming here. You're amazing. I would never think that you question yourself.
I still do.
Why?
I just question from everything. Did I sound good to this person on the phone? Was I warm enough? If I'm in a bad mood at the end of the day, did I give off the impression that I was having a bad day? Did I snap at somebody? Did I do all my steps?
Did the client think that you knew what you were doing when you were doing the motions?
Oh my God, I'm giving a massage and I forgot a step. Did she feel that? It's just so many things that's going through your heads. Like, maybe I didn't answer her in a way that she expected. Maybe I didn't sound confident enough in my response. It's just all those little things at the end of the day you go home and you think about.
You know what? I told you to prevent me from speaking my truth, but it's okay. I'm going to speak my truth.
Speak your
because
truth.
I have felt that way too. So I was teaching a yoga class, and of course, anybody who does any kind of yoga, personal training, whatever the case may be, you get so nervous because all you're thinking is that somebody's going to say, "That's not how you do it," and that you do this first, and then you do that second, and then even when you do that, you're not supposed to go all the like. So I remember doing a class, and I missed a step. So after you do certain things, right? So I cannot tell you how I felt like an imposter. I felt like I didn't do a good job, and somebody must have noticed that, you know, after the downward dog, we're supposed to do whatever, and whatever. So I still go through that, right? I still go through my doubts. I still like whether I even pronounced a word right in the yoga world, right? And even as a coach, coaching clients, I still go through my doubts about whether I was able to, I guess, kind of like cover the areas in the mindset, because I'm really focused on mindset a lot when I coach clients, and I feel sometimes that I didn't do a good job in helping them to get there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Trust me, it's real. It's the self-doubt we put on ourselves every day.
Yeah.
And it makes life a little bit more challenging.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Makes life challenging for sure. Because then sometimes it will determine whether you want to get up and go do what you got to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We had some comments from the audience. If anybody has any questions at all, please feel free. Destiny, thanks Destiny for watching. Wow, that's awesome. You're doing a coach sit down. Yeah, it kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Right? Sometimes we get intimidated. Yeah, Nadesh, we do, and it brings feelings of doubt. Absolutely. Like,
hey, Nads.
Hi, Nads.
How are you? I think there's only one Nadesh.
Yeah, there's only one Nadesh.
Only one Nadesh.
And she's so supportive. I always love it. Yeah. I have worked with both of you ladies, and you are both leaders and definitely not imposters. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Intimidation, that's a key word. Um, it's interesting, and tell me if you've been through this, where if I'm going to be around people who are also experts in the field or
oh gosh. Oh gosh. That's like, it's like that all the time on Instagram. There are estheticians who are out there. They're in commercials and they're in spaces.
Yes.
And then they're just putting out the information and you know it, but you kind of cower yourself down.
You just do the
because
basics.
Exactly, because they're already doing it and you don't want to say too much, because then they're going to say, well, LA beautyologist didn't say that. She said something. She says you should do it like this.
Yes.
And
she said oily skin must this, and you said this.
Exactly. But it's every esthetician has, we all learned from the same book. Right. But we all have our own processes of doing things, and we all believe what works for her in her practice may not work in my practice with the clients that I have. So, she will have her thing where she says you cleanse and then you tone and then you do this and then you tone after each step. But for my clients are busy moms or career women. They don't have the time. Most of my clients honestly are newbies.
Yeah,
they are newbies
to the whole skincare regime.
Whole skincare process. So I cannot tell my clients, well, you need to go home and I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you
hydro
7 steps, and you're going to do this after every step. And they're looking at me like, I don't even have time to put myself together. So why would I create a system for them to fail? I start them off on the basics. 3 steps, and then we graduate. We add something else that their skin needs. So I had to recognize my environment, and again, the US market is completely different from the Canadian market. The American women they're always out getting their hair done, nails, and European. So Canada is a little bit, especially Ontario. Montreal is completely different. That's little Europe. So
for sure.
They're into skincare and spas and all of that, but Ontario isn't. We're just getting there, and within our community we're also just getting there. So I had to recognize, my clientels are not the hype clientels. They are just modern, ordinary moms going through their daily lives, just trying to get their shit together.
It's so true.
That is it, and I'm okay with that.
I like that you said that, because you got me thinking, because even if I do something in Durham, these are moms. Some of them are not active as much, or really don't know much, or don't do much yoga, or even whatever I do. And so it's easier for me to relate to them because I'm teaching them. So it's good practice for me to be able to work with somebody who is like a newbie. Whereas, so I'm going downtown this weekend? To teach a yoga class with downtown people. So of course, I'm feeling the imposter syndrome is all over it's all over my chest. If anybody can see that, right? If anybody's watching right now. And it has nothing to do with, and I know that we talked about maybe self-doubt, insecurities, or whatever. I don't know, because I'm not afraid to admit anything, but it has nothing to do with me feeling that I can't do the class. It's me feeling that there's going to be people there who are so advanced and has a different mindset or a different approach to yoga, or maybe want a different outcome that I may not be able to connect and give them. So I'm a little bit thinking, oh my goodness, should I keep it basic? Should I get like super yogi, or should I just be myself? And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to be myself. I'm just going to say, you know what, we're going to do this class, no judgment, all levels, and we're just going to flow, right? So the imposter syndrome creeps up at me when I have to present myself around people who I believe is going to criticize me. Is that what it is? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's what it is.
You feel like, because they're more seasoned than you, then they do know more. But you can learn from each other, actually. Yeah.
Do we have any men watching the show to tell us how they've been through, if they've been through the imposter syndrome? Nadege, would you say women deal with imposter syndrome more than men? Oh,
in
I
one
don't
of the
know.
reading that one of the articles that I read, and it can be a gender issue, especially with women.
Interesting.
Especially with
Interesting.
women.
Yeah.
We're competing in industries that mainly belongs to men. Well, not my industry,
But
but
most
most
industries.
industries are male dominant industries. So we
Mhm.
always feel less than.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I can see that. I mean, I personally believe that men do suffer
I
from it
think
as
they
well.
do
They may
because they're
not.
very competitive.
Yes.
They're very
Yeah,
competitive.
yeah.
So I'm quite sure they do feel.
I would love to hear from one of the men in the audience. I'm sure that they do, but there's also the ego, right? And like you said, the competitiveness and not being vulnerable enough to actually say it, right?
Right.
But yeah, I've heard that it does happen with everybody, and I don't want what I was struggling with when I started to look up imposter syndrome was um, that like really labeling myself as that
Right.
and attaching it to my existence.
Right.
And I had to say, okay, Maxine, you went to school for all of this,
Right.
right? This is your passion, so own it.
Right.
And just do you.
Right.
Do what this is like nobody can be me.
No, nobody can be you.
Nobody
And
can-
the
yeah.
hard work that you put into your business, it's as a result of the hard work you put in,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
somebody else. So
Exactly.
we can't allow our fears to get in the way of that because it's really us. And one of your questions was, where did it stem from? And religious
Yes.
beliefs,
Yes.
society on a whole of who we should be,
Mhm.
and
Childhood.
cultural
Interesting.
family.
Yeah. Yeah.
In some families, I know in West Indian culture, people are, as a child, you're taught to be seen and not heard. So growing up, those things are still instilled in you, and then you become that person that's just in yourself, and you don't put yourself out there because you feel you don't really have anything of value to say. So those things stick with you. All those the inner child is always there, and it's always showing up in everything you do. Your inner child is always showing up, forever showing up. So
And your the past pains that you've been through,
right,
trauma,
right.
Yeah, that is true. The inner child is always showing up. That sets the base as to who you believe or what you believe that you can do,
Right.
right? And also even on the flip side, if your inner childhood was more supportive and you were like the golden child or the prodigal son or daughter, you may be okay.
Yeah,
Or
you'll be more confident because you were told, like, believe in yourself. You can
Right.
you can do anything you want, and your environment was just all around
positive.
positive. But if
Yeah.
it wasn't,
Yeah.
then all of that shit's just gonna wreak havoc on your whole entire life, not just in your work, just in your daily interactions with everybody, including all types of relationships.
But here's the thing too. On the flip side, if you had a childhood where your parents had expectations of you to be this grandeur child, this perfect model child,
Right.
meanwhile you're back in the alley smoking dope and not doing anything,
Right.
you become an imposter child as well.
Right.
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 So I think it's incredible what this stuff can do.
Yeah.
And how it can affect you. And even when you reach a certain level of accomplishment, if you are so absorbed into this imposter syndrome and feeling that you don't deserve this, you can actually like shut everything down,
Right.
and not succeed. And
Right.
that's a pretty profound thing to happen to somebody,
Right.
especially when you're trying to
Right.
succeed.
Right.
Interesting. Clipboard again.
Clipboard time.
So the other thing I noticed as well was that imposter syndrome can end up in relationships. So tell me,
have I experienced imposter syndrome in my
in your
relationship?
relationship.
Wow. So Okay, so I was married. God, now everybody knows my business.
Oh.
So he's an actuary, right?
He's an actuary.
Don't ask me to explain what an actuary is.
I know what an actuary is.
It's hard to explain.
Yes.
So, he is around, his
Highly.
environment
Yes.
is
I
up
know.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And me being in that environment at times could make me feel like I was down here. That how did I get into this status, this environment with all these, when the conversations are, well, I have a double B MBA and I have a this and I have a that. And then when you speak, it's like, okay, maybe I didn't say that right. You're always questioning the words that comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I think I speak like general, like for everybody to understand me. I don't feel the need to always throw the dictionary at somebody to make somebody feel
don't need to embellish.
Than.
You don't need to embellish. Okay,
exactly.
I get it. Yeah.
So it's always those little feelings that, maybe I don't know as much. Maybe I shouldn't join that conversation because then it's a little bit too much for me. Yes. I don't know that much.
Out of your realm.
Exactly. When it's really not, because it's like basic conversation they're having, world issues and stuff.
But it's your doubt. It's
my self-doubt that makes me feel like I'm going to be judged.
Yeah.
That,
and pointed out.
This person's wife don't know anything.
Yeah. What is he doing with her?
Exactly.
How is she fulfilling him?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there were those feelings. I mean, I knew they were there, but I never really paid attention until now. Like I didn't. Yeah.
Interesting. Because like in some relationships that can happen. You've got somebody who is highly successful or highly educated and accomplished, and their partner has a different level of education or even skill set, and maybe not as well versed, or maybe not well traveled, let's say, and they just somehow feel that their spouse is going to wake up one day and say, you know what, like, she's not really who I thought she was.
Like, what am I doing up earlier?
Yeah, what am I doing with her, right? This is not really fulfilling me in the way that I thought. I can't even take her anywhere because she can't even hold a conversation. Or even vice versa. Like it could be a woman with a man who is saying, you could be like an accountant and he's a mechanic. Doesn't mean he's not smart, but it just means that he's just not in the same league as you. So then I think that's where that loyalty and all that stuff and confidence in the relationship. But
we put those limitations on ourselves though. We feel because we look at them because of the way we're raised. If someone studied something, a lawyer, a doctor, we automatically place them
on a higher
pedestal than anything else. But
I know.
At the end of the day, yes, they are knowledgeable in a certain field, but come on, we've met intelligent dummies. we have like, they're knowledgeable in a certain area, but so it's us that actually place people on a certain at a certain level and place ourselves below them.
So what about with friendships? Have you ever had any kind of feeling of imposter syndrome with friendships? Like thinking that they may say, she's not really who she thinks she is, and
for years I used to, because when I went to school the first time, I didn't complete my studies. And I've always felt like a certain insecurity that, hey, you have to complete your degree. And I felt because I didn't have a degree, I felt less than.
Yes.
I felt like I wasn't accomplished. I had all sorts of feeling. And even 2 years ago, I said, I am going to, always wanted to study anthropology. At some point, I'm going to do it because I really want to. And then I was asked why.
Oh.
Not they're not saying I can't do it or shouldn't do it, but they were asking why I want to do it. And after I thought about why I want to do it, it's not because I really want to do it, but it's also how I'd be seen and looked at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really
so
interesting.
It was kind of, in a way, it's kind of for the wrong reasons that I want it. Because I want to be a part of a group of people that has a 4-year degree. And girl, then they're like, girl, you own your own business. Yeah. You own your own business and you're doing this. So, and I'm in a group with women from different education background and educators and finance and all of that, but they don't make me feel like I'm less than. Exactly. It's me.
So I mean, in your situation, it seems as if you had to examine your motives.
I had to at one point I really wanted a house.
That was a motive.
I really wanted a house. Why did I want a house?
Exactly.
Because most people around me owns their home.
Exactly.
Own home.
Right.
But then I had to sit down and think about my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I like to travel. My children are used to a certain lifestyle. They go away twice a year.
Yes.
And then I'd have to be sitting there thinking about, should I go on a trip or, my God, I have to pay my mortgage. I can't go, and then I'm going to be unhappy. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to happen now.
Yes.
And
it can happen when
their life is completely different from mine. So nowadays, even within my work, I'm really paying attention to the way I think. And why do I feel that way? I really have to sit down and think about and process why I feel the way I do, why I think the way I do, why I want the things I want. Why am I not doing the things that I want to do? What's the holdback?
So with that now, right, all these things that you want to accomplish, do you feel that you're an imposter to your family? Because some of the things you said was a house, a different career in anthropology. Do you feel meaning you're not giving them what maybe you thought they want from you, your family? Because personally, for me, I have my daughter. I'm a single mom with my daughter, and there are a lot of things that I promised her myself, like I said to myself. And of course, I opened my big mouth and I told her other things I promised for her. And so far,
a pony.
Well, no, I mean,
I still haven't gotten that pony, Mom.
But like a certain lifestyle, something, and I haven't been able to do that for her. And I feel like a failure. I feel like a fraud. I feel like I've not come through with what I said, or gave her the impression, oh yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah, I got this. Yeah. But I feel like an imposter.
With them, I don't.
Good.
The only time I ever feel bad is if I'm working too much, because they're used to a mom that stayed home with them. So now it's my issue is being, oh my God, I'm a bad mom because I was out from this time and I'm running here. Now I'm here, and and they have to go to karate and I'm here, and then it's all those things, doing the not being able to show up for all the things that I used to show up to anymore. That's what bothers me, because I know what it's like when I walk into a room and they see me, they light up. And their whole attitude and behavior change. They become more confident. And I'm like, but now I'm missing these little things. So, and I feel like it's just going to be, well, mommy never showed up to that one thing.
Yes.
They always point out that one thing. So that's more of my issues, not what I feel like. I don't feel like I'm failing them in that department. For Thanksgiving, went to my aunt's house. My son is 9. So we went around in a circle to say what we're thankful for. And he says, well, number one, he says, I'm thankful that I'm alive.
That's a good one.
It's a good one, but this is the way he said it. It's funny. And then he says, I'm thankful that my mom has a 5-star business. And I lost it. Like, he's so 9. And
they're watching. And
they are
they're
watching.
very aware.
And I will hear him last year during the pandemic, during school, and you know, they asked him about careers he would something a good career to have. He wrote his dad's career. He that being an actuary is really good and explain why. And then he also put an esthetician.
Oh,
because my mommy helped women feel good about themselves. You see? It's so no, I don't feel like I'm letting them down in any way, because they see what I do, and they're like my biggest, they're my number one fans.
Absolutely. And that's a good thing.
My number one
and they're
fans.
modeling everything that you're doing, and they're seeing and they're seeing how you're processing things, and how you're just going about your business and helping people to feel good. So they're always going to be having that mindset.
And I've never heard my daughter, she's 12, I've never heard her said she wants to work anywhere. It's always she wants to be a teacher, but she wants to be a dance teacher, and she wants to own a studio or
entrepreneurism
or something. It's never, I'm going to study this and I'm going to work for this big corporation. It's never that. It's I want to do this. And every career path that she has come up with, it's I'm gonna work for myself. So
well, that's pretty much where the Gen X are going. They're going with entrepreneurism and working for themselves, and it's just how the world is going to be, right? I mean, other obviously some careers doesn't speak for that, but for the most part, if they see you doing that and being successful, more than likely they'll probably do the same, unless they have like another passion that that takes them elsewhere. Oh wow, okay, so this has been an interesting conversation. I don't know how much time we have. We're at 30 past the time.
Oh wow!
But I want to just leave the
time
audience.
Flies
I know
we're having fun.
It does. So I don't know if there was any comments that came through that we could probably address. Anybody?
I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't see.
Oh, you read? I can see. Okay, so it does say men also talk about their accomplishments more than women do. Oh yeah, they do.
Yes, we tend to.
Yeah.
We try to slide under the radar. When I was graduating, I did not say anything to my friends, and I don't remember what happened, but my friend messaged. She's like, "Do you think you could have gotten away with this day?" And she showed up.
Exactly.
No ticket, but she showed up. And I know if the others had known about it, they would have shown up. I just didn't want to make it a big deal.
But you received an accomplishment recently, didn't you?
Oh, what was that?
I think that you did something. I don't remember. It's on your Instagram. You either you appeared in a magazine or you're voted something.
Oh, I knew what you're talking about. I just don't want to say. So I write for a magazine, BFBG, and I was nominated in 3 categories. So aesthetics brand of the year, esthetician of the year, and retailer of the year.
You see? Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
But you see, this is where the imposter syndrome should not apply to this beautiful lady, because these accolades and these accomplishments that you've got were not just by chance. It's because you're doing well. People see it, and they notice that you're doing what you do, your craft, right? So in that case, if anybody here has imposter syndromes or feel that you are not worthy of your success, I hope that us being a little transparent with what we go through, and even just hearing about Orica's accomplishments, that it'll help to shape the way that you think going forward. And my only advice I can say is be yourself. Like whatever you're doing, do it the way that you normally do it.
You can only do it your way. You can't do it anybody else's way.
Yeah.
And what I'm learning to do right now is I used to follow a lot of estheticians. Now I've just deleted them. And
what a good idea.
I deleted them because my content is not for estheticians. It's for
the client.
It's for the clients.
I'm going to go and follow some health coaches.
And when you follow people within your industry, that's when you develop like a strong imposter syndrome. You feeling like, I'm not good enough. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready yet. When that is 100% not true. The fact that you studied, you got your certificate, diploma, MMBAs, or your degrees, and you're studying outside of those, and you're applying every day. Your shit. Talk your shit. Apply your shit.
Absolutely.
Just do it. And I'm going to take my own advice too.
I'm going to take your advice.
I'm going to take my own advice and just do it.
No, you know what? I never thought about that, because I mean, I've been in contact with some people who are doing the same thing as me, and we'll message each other on Instagram, and they would say things, oh my God, you're doing such amazing things. And I mean, I would look at their page and go, oh my God, look at this girl. She's bending and twisting, and she's this, and she's got all this advice, and she's doing all these things. And they would say to me, oh, I love what you're doing. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not that great. You're great. But you're right. So, I mean, there's some people you can follow because they're very supportive.
There's some people you follow because they are supportive. But if your follow is predominantly people in your business, peers, it can mess with you. It can mess with you. It's just like waking up to your Instagram with all these beautiful quotes every morning, and you're not in a good space. It's gonna make you feel like shit. Like, like this person, oh my God, their life is together. When it's actually really not together. Because sometimes I post things and it's because I'm in the moment and I know it helped me in that moment. So it's going to help somebody else. It's not because I have my whole complete life together, and it's not like I'm behind that phone, like crumbling, probably under my covers, texting.
Listen, I have to share this. So many people judge my life. They think what I post on social media is my life. They think I'm living this blissful, glamorous life.
Maxine gonna Jamaica and I do yoga on the beach and exactly.
They think that
you needed that trip.
I needed that trip. But you're right. Like, you could be under the covers posting. The whole point is it's a business that you're doing. You're going to put what you have to put, especially if you have scheduled posts, scheduled content, certain things that you want your audience to know. So you just put it out there. But not because you see me sitting down eating an orange, or if you see me doing something, it doesn't mean that my life is totally that way. But people tend to think that I'm a fraud because I'm not doing exactly what you see me posting. Or they think that because I posted a picture that I took 6 months ago, I'm trying to tell people this is my life now. No, it's content. It's called it's marketing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like when you see a Gap poster on the billboards, you don't know what's happening at the corporate head office at Gap.
Exactly.
You just know that they're advertising their boots for the kids.
And even when I was posting during the lockdown, I would get message, are you open? No. Those are pictures that were stored.
You gotta keep going. You gotta keep it moving.
You gotta keep it moving.
Exactly.
You have to keep
so the imposter syndrome creeps up when you have people looking at your life and saying, oh, you're an expert now, or are you feeling that way? It creeps up in that way as well. So anyway, this has been great. Nadej, I saw your comment about thanking us for the show and being authentic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to wrap up by thank you so much by saying some tips just to help you if you're feeling any way at all about doubting your abilities, is just to talk to somebody that you confide in, somebody you trust, who you can just talk to them about how you feel about what you've accomplished, or even just like what you're going to embark on. Like, do you feel that, like maybe give you some tips as to how to do it to make yourself feel confident about it. And also visualize your success. So visualize really what you want. Like, like, I know what I want to be in terms of my career. Like, I don't necessarily need to be a yogi guru sitting at in top of a mountain. I just need to make sure that I empower some people, right? And if it spreads, then it spreads. So just visualize your success and just go at your own pace and do you. Just be yourself, and seek support. Like, find a mentor, right?
A mentor. Oh my God, a mentor is helpful. Exactly. A mentor is so helpful. They in those moments they can just rein you in and remind you of who you are. And so you can get back to that.
Yes, definitely. And more importantly, be good to yourself. Be kind. Be gentle.
Yep.
Just be gentle with yourself.
Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Okay.
Yes.
I could definitely do this. I love this couch thing.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, I love this couch
Thank you.
I think I should do self-care Sundays like this. Too.
Yes. Well, you know what? The studio owner would love to have you if you just reach out to them.
I like this whole sit down together thing.
It is.
I hate
more personable.
At a screen.
I know. That's why I brought you here. So, okay. Thank you so much for everyone for watching. And in the meantime, please follow Business Takeout on all of the social media platforms. Reach out to them and stay well, everyone. And good night.
Good night.
Good
night.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.